So, in this video today, we're going to talk about directed numbers and performing operations on directed numbers. And by operation, we mean addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So, let's start with a number line. So, a number line. So, we know from before that we have, if we count on the fingers, we could start from 0, but we start from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, dot dot dot. This dot 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 in maths means something could just go on forever. Like you could just keep counting. That's what it means here. So now to the right of 0, we have the positive numbers. And notice that you leave a space here. Well, to the left of 0, we have the negative numbers. So we say -1, -2, extend this out a bit here, -3, -4, -5, -6. And it goes on forever here too, but kind of around the space. So to the left of 0, we have the negative numbers. Have the negative numbers. So we have the negative numbers to the left of 0, the negative numbers. So we could make a little note. So the right of 0, we have the positive numbers. On the left of 0, we have the negative numbers. So let's look at a problem here. So let's say I have 2 plus 1. We know this is 3. We could do this on our head, 3. But let's look at this on the number line. So if I'm at 2 and I'm adding 1, I add 1, I would end up at 3. Similarly, if I'm at 2 and I take 1, I would get 1. So I'm at 2, I take 1, I end up at 1. So looking at these two problems here, we could introduce two rules here when we're doing problems with negative numbers. It's true for positive numbers and negative numbers. So the rules are, when we add, we move to the right. And the other rule here, when we subtract, we move to the left. Let's see this in action here with some negative numbers. So let's say I have -2 take away 1. So if I'm at -2, and we say when we subtract we move to the left, so I move 1 place to the left, I would get -3. Now let's say if I'm at negative 4 and I add 2. So the rule says when we add, we move to the right. So if I'm at negative 4 and I add 2, one space, I would be at negative 3. The next space, I would be at negative 2. So I'm going to erase here and do some more examples. So let's say I have negative 5 minus 2. Drawing a number line, 0, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. So I'm at negative 5 and I'm taking away 2. So the rule says when we subtracting, we move to the left. So one space, a second space. So if I move one space, I would be at negative 6. If I move a second space, I would be at negative 7. So here we have negative 7. Let's look at another example. So if I have negative 3 plus 6. So I'm at negative 3, and the rule says when I'm adding, I move to the right. So one space, two space, three space, four space, five space, six spaces. So here would be 1, here would be 2, here would be 3. So I'm at negative 3 and I add 6, so I move 6 places to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I would get 3. Let's say now I am at negative 4 and I want to take away negative 3. Now there's another rule that says two negatives gives a positive and a positive and a negative gives a negative. So let's see the rule with two negatives gives a positive. So in this problem, I have two negatives next to each other. So it would become positive. So say negative 4 plus 3. What that would be. So now that I'm adding 3, I move 3 places to the right. So I'm at negative 4, 1 space, 2 space, 3 spaces. I would end up at negative 1. So let's say now I have 2 plus negative 2. So a positive and a negative together gives a negative over here. Positive and a negative together. So I get 2 minus 2. So if I'm at 2 and I'm taking away 2, one of the rules says you move to the left when you're taking away. So one space, two spaces, I would get 0. Now if you do this in your head, you would expect 0, but when we are introducing negative numbers, it's useful to think in terms of the number line. To clear on this again, I'm doing some more examples. Let's say I have 3 minus positive 4. Now the negative and the positive would give a negative, so I would get 3 minus 4. So drawing this on the number line, 0, 2, 3, 4. So I'm at 3 and I'm taking 4, so I'm moving 4 places to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. -1. I will get -1. Let's do another example. Let's say I have 5 minus 2. So two negatives together would give a positive. So we get 5 plus 2. Now we know this is 7. We know this is 7. But let's show it on the number line. So here's 5, here would be 6, here would be 7. So if I'm at 5 and I'm adding 2, well, we move 2 places to the right. So we end up at 7 as expected. So our next example of this would be, let's see, I have -3 minus 2. So if I'm at -3, so I have to extend out my number line a bit here. -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. So if I'm at -3, which is here, and I'm taking away 2, the rule says when I'm taking away, you move to the left. So 1 space, 2 space. I would end up at -5, which is expected. And one more example of this would be, let's say I'm at 6 plus -8. So a positive and a negative together would give you 6 minus 8. So if I'm at 6 here, and I have to subtract 8, I'm moving 8 places to the left. So 1 space, 2 space, 3 space, 4 space, 5 space, 6 space, 7 space, 8 spaces. I will get -2. So just a quick recap. When adding, move to the right. When subtracting, moved to the left. Two negatives gives a positive. A positive and a negative gives a negative. So these are the rules in directed numbers, and I hope you all understood what I was trying to explain here.